This is Introduction to Computers. We covered multimedia today. The last thing we covered was the gaming industry. We talked about students should be familiar with the fact that it is an industry. It's a huge industry, it's large, and it's like any other big company. It's not just something people do for the fun of it. The effects it has on people, mixed. People are very mixed on that, whether it makes the violent games, whether it makes people more violent, less violent, whether it gives them ideas or not gives them ideas, and so forth. Okay? Then, on the other part of the board, we looked at some examples online that we did. We pretty much reviewed a little bit. We talked about the whole idea of digital information. We have images, video, and audio. Okay, all managed digitally now. We reviewed raster graphics, bitmapped, or vector graphics. You know, vector, we can change the size of it and it keeps its good look. Raster graphics, if you change it, it may not look as good because it's bitmapped, you know, the number of bits, and then we talked a little bit about, you know, how many bits for what kind of images and so forth. Previously, we had talked about why. You know, the whole idea we can store all of these, we can move them easily, we can share them easily, and then we can manage it. We can manage the video, we can manage the audio much easier in a digital form than any other form in terms of access to it and so forth. And I gave some examples. So there's open source software that allows us to manage this. You can use YouTube, and there's lots of other places to manage your video, audio, or images. And it's easy to do. We talked a little bit about having your own channel on YouTube. The devices that allow us to capture digital images, there are a lot of different devices and they're easy to use. Like right here, I'm using an iPad to capture this information, and it's very easy for me then to send it up to YouTube. The whole idea in computing technology now with hypertext and hypermedia, instead of moving through material in a linear fashion, we can use links, buttons, icons, touch things, click on things, and move through. And we talked about hypertext transfer protocol, and we talked about the whole idea of HTML and web pages. And we went into this whole idea of websites. If you want to have your own website, probably one of the easiest ways would just create a Facebook page. It's really like having your own web presence out there. And then there's all kinds of software, not just Google, but lots of them that allow you to create web pages. You can buy software packages that help you develop web pages, and you can develop web pages. You can buy time on a server, write your own HTML, have your own web presence that way. Or if you can afford your own server, and as long as your ISP contract allows you to have a server, you can have your own server. Web authoring, how we develop web pages. There's lots of web development software that allows you to do it. Lots of different options to get your web page available. And we talk more about that in the networking part. When you do create software, web pages, it's crucial that your web pages are good. A web presence can actually damage a company as much as help it if it's poorly done. Links have to work, your graphics have to download well and have to look good. You got to have a nice layout on the page. How you design the page is very important, and the web presence, the page has to be very easy to use. Does it have to look fancy? Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. We looked at some examples, and that was it for today. They have the exam is Friday in MH211A and MH210A, and it is the midterm, no notes, but you can review assessment 1 and go back over your outlines. That's it.